Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Albers, and welcome to the Positive Energy Podcast, where we talk positive stories about positive people. And Steve, our next guest, is someone that we know pretty well, obviously, and we love him to death. He's the ultimate friend. He'll do anything for anybody. It's my nephew, and you know, I really, honestly, we were kind of talking about this before we went on air. I called him my little mini me.
Yeah.
We can't, and he said, "You can't call me mini because he's really not." He's not mini. So, but we're joined as Daniel, and I can't wait to let everybody know about Daniel and what he's done and what he means to a lot of people, and especially for you too.
There's no question about it. Daniel Hennessey sitting with us here today. So a couple things, Danny. First of all, you know, the one thing I want to say, start off right off the bat, is that everybody should be lucky enough to have somebody like Daniel.
You're not kidding.
I mean, no matter what it is, you know, with where I'm at and what he does for me with basketball, but just as a friend,
right.
You know, I mean, you know, everybody's life is better with Daniel in it. But as you mentioned, I am living in some type of bizarre world right now because I'm looking at Dan Albers from the 20s versus Dan Albers of today. And so I get to enjoy two of your lifetimes every single day with this guy, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and it's just going to be awesome to talk to Dan. It is really scary that when we will get into a little bit later at how much I told him before we went on air, like all the stuff that he does reminds me of the things I did back in the day. So, but as we said, joining us is Daniel Hennessey, my nephew there. Daniel, thanks for joining. It's about time.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to be on. We've been trying to do this since like last August.
That's right.
We tried to do it forever. But so let's get everybody familiar that might not know Daniel.
Yep.
So let's kind of go back to the you know, back in the day as growing up as a kid. You grew up in Amelia. Talk about growing up in Amelia and talking about just, you know, having a great uncle like me. You know, just kind of talk about, you know, all that stuff you want. I know I'm your favorite uncle, so we'll throw that in later.
You do like to say I was named after you, so I mean, that says everything.
So just talk about growing up in Amelia. I know you played some sports, but talk about some of the sports you played and what you did in Amelia.
Played football, basketball, and baseball. I didn't play in high school, but basketball and baseball I played in high school. Well, basketball for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Football I loved. That was my favorite sport, playing.
Yeah.
And didn't have the best record in time there at Amelia, but hey, I enjoyed every moment of it. I love playing football, and all my friends I still hang out with, and we have a group chat of 15 plus people from Amelia that we still hang out with every weekend. So
what about, so I remember you playing baseball. You made it all the way up until
my freshman year.
Was it?
Played until my
like
freshman year.
It was kind of like not-whole, whatever. You played that, and then you didn't do soccer, did you? Did you do
I did soccer for 1 year, and the only thing I liked was the snacks at halftime.
That's good. Nothing wrong with that.
That's
and then
not
I
shocking.
quit.
That's not shocking.
Yeah.
Oh, that is funny.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, so I just want to say, when you were growing up and you played all the sports and you're around, you know, the Albers clan and you know, all the sports minded that the family is involved with, let alone the Hennesseys, what was your favorite sport as you were growing up?
Whatever sport I was playing at the moment. I was playing that sport, and then I was like, I don't want to play the next one. And then I get into the next one, and I was like, this is my favorite sport. And then it'd be vice versa every time.
Yeah. Were you always hoping like to have like blue and gray colors for Xavier for what teams you were going to be on?
No, that wasn't an idea.
I'm just kidding you. Although Amelia was pretty close to those colors.
Yeah.
My senior year, we actually switched to a lot of gray stuff.
Okay.
We switched to a matte gray helmet with blue on it and gray pants.
Okay. All right. So in all kidding aside, when you got into high school, it seemed like you were gravitating more towards football. How did you know at that point that was the sport you're going to concentrate on?
I got cut from basketball. That's how I knew.
All right. Chop that out. All right.
It was the fit for me. I always liked football, always fit in more with the crew for football, I would say. I was closer with a lot of the football guys, and when I got back into it, and I realized, because I did quit my freshman, sophomore year, I got back into it my junior and senior year, and it was my biggest regret because I love the sport, and I don't know why I ever quit.
Well, I'm going to bring something up that I got to throw this out, because this is a story that I just want to forget.
Okay.
When he first started playing little football, like pee-wee football and all that, every single time he would cry. Like, he would cry like you wouldn't believe, like, to the point he was puking.
Okay.
Like, he was so nervous.
Oh, okay.
And so and he didn't want to be there. And so Teresa, my sister, said, I can't handle it. You need to go to practice. So I would start to go to practice.
Okay.
To be there to see how he would do. And sure enough, first couple times he went down, he was crying. He's like, I don't. And he couldn't catch his breath, and then he'd puke. And so we had to try to settle him down, but it took a while for him to kind of get, and I don't know why. I don't know why he was like that.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah, it was literally, I'd go to the line, I'd be fine, I'd get back to the huddle, and I was the center, so I had to call huddle.
Okay.
Huddle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just nervous, trying to get through it.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you about your playing days and a part of, whether it be superstition or just honoring with the wristbands that you would wear.
Yeah, those were for big guy, and I am superstitious. I do like to wear the same things, but I had to wear them for him. Like, I had in my junior and senior year.
Yeah.
And those meant a lot to me.
Okay.
Like,
and what did it say?
It just said big guy.
Big guy.
That's all it said.
Which was
my grandpa. That's my grandpa. That's your dad.
Pop, yes.
Yeah.
We called him the big guy.
That is, I had to wear those every game, and I also did wear blue leggings I got from Moose.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were bright blue.
Okay.
And but I did have superstitions. I did wear those wristbands, but those were for big guy. I got those. Before that, I didn't really have anything I wore.
I can't remember. Did you make those when he passed away, or did you? Okay,
it was the summer of going in my junior year, so I had them my last 2 years of football.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
that was the time.
And I think the thing that I hated, since I was doing all the Anderson games all the time, is I never got to really I think there might have been one game that either Anderson got called, something happened, and I got to watch one game, and it was hard to not only for you, but Robbie, also my other nephew, played too, and it was hard for me not to be at those games because I was doing the Anderson games, and I do remember going. I thought there was one game that I ended up making it to, I think, and it was at Amelia.
It could have been a good chance because, like, I feel like the ECC a lot. They did it with Clonesti. They'd have a Thursday game once a year.
No. You know what I think it was? I think it was Anderson played on a Saturday in the Crosstown Showdown or something.
Oh,
and I think I got to go on a Friday night to go watch it play. It was the only time I got to watch his game, and I felt horrible, like I couldn't go to senior night, all that stuff. But yeah, it was. Been very proud of what he did and how he almost a similar story as far as talking about mini me. You know the story. I didn't play football, played soccer, played basketball, didn't do all that stuff. And then my junior year, I decided to go out and play football. I played football and kind of like Daniel did the same thing and just loved it. And so it's eerily similar to, and the friends that he has are like me and you and Tom and Boomer and all those guys that we hung out with too. So it's just scary.
What got you to playing center?
He wasn't very good at guard.
I was slow, probably. No, that's just what first thing they said, and I was like, all right. And I liked it because I like to be the one, I had to control.
Okay.
I had to start to play.
Okay.
Hold on. Didn't you start off at guard? Didn't they put you at guard? I remember that you played guard for a little bit.
In middle school. Youth, I was always center.
Okay.
I played a little bit of guard in middle school, and then senior was always center. Or junior and senior was always center.
Here's another good one. Let's go like full circle here with all this.
Yep.
His coach was Broush, right?
Yes.
The head coach?
The head coach was Broush, and now his son.
And now his son is coaching at Anderson.
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. And he was also my coach, too. He was
part of the staff? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so so it was kind of, doing all the Anderson games, he came up to me one time, we took a picture, we started talking, he said, oh my God, I love Daniel, so it's all that just comes around. It's crazy.
Wow.
It is crazy. Yeah. And that guy won a state championship with Lebanon.
Yeah, he did. Yep, my coach did.
Remember when Lebanon won the state championship way back in the 80s?
Oh, I was thinking Reeds. Like, what?
Yeah, in the 80s, early 80s. And I remember how they won on a hook and ladder.
Really?
Mm-hmm. State championship, they're down. I don't know how many they were down, and they did a hook and ladder to some guy. He was a running back, and something with an L, like Lindsay something, but the guy was unbelievable, and that's how they won the state championships, on a hook and ladder, I think.
He always wore that thing during practice, that ring.
Yeah.
Really?
I would too, yeah.
All due respect, I should read the script. I took your question. I didn't mean to.
What?
Yeah.
You knew you did. Yes, you did, because you gave me the side eye. You gave me the side eye.
I apologize.
He does this all the time, Daniel. He takes my questions.
I apologize.
Which one was it?
The big guy question with the sweatbands.
I didn't read past the first page.
Because he doesn't do scripts.
Yeah. No, it's all good though.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Okay.
Continue, Dan.
No, I mean, I think, it's kind of hard to, go off of a script when you prepare it and you don't even
Just go
you
on.
don't even do a script. I mean, so all right. Well, let's talk about the journey after high school.
Yep.
About going to college, what your decision was, why you wanted to do it, and then where you ended up going, and kind of talk about how that happened to where you got to UC Clermont.
Yeah, I had a couple schools that I thought about going to, like Wilmington. I truly thought about going because my best friend in high school, Eli, he went to go play running back at Wilmington. Mm-hmm. I was like, that'd be my chance to do the college experience, go live on a dorm, go live with him. Had a couple other buddies that were going there as well, and that's when the opportunity came with Steve to go to UC Clermont and do basketball.
Yeah.
And I loved that. The first moment I went to a couple games, I was like, yeah, this is for sure what I want to do. I was like, I don't think I want to stay away from home either. Yeah. And this is a perfert opportunity. And I loved every minute of it.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
Yeah. How many years ago was that?
This will be the ninth
year for him.
That is just crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. All right. So in talking about that, so I knew my very first year that I wanted Daniel to come on board, right? But he still had one more year of high school left, and so he came on and, just kind of talk a little bit about the first year, and then, what role you play, and then obviously I'm going to expand on that.
The first year I definitely came in a little nervous. Yeah. But that crew that we had that first year, there's a couple of the returners from the year that you had before, like Jack and Jamie. Yeah. They welcomed me in so perfectly. Like, I couldn't have asked for anybody else to welcome me in like that.
No question.
And because I was nervous coming into it, like I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't know what these guys would be like. Yeah. Because they're playing college basketball. Yeah. And but I did a lot of the stats at practice. Mm-hmm. That was the first year, and obviously got the water during the games and stuff, and then just help out with the guys, anything after practice, before practice, anything I can do to help them out and make friendships. I made a lot of good friendships that first year.
There's no question. I mean, Danny, you know this very well. I mean, just the glue of the team, everything, I mean, I can't say it enough how much I appreciate, but I mean, I can't imagine doing this without them. Right. And the same thing obviously with Doug and Kyle, and you doing the broadcast, and Greg doing the announcement. I mean, all that stuff. But it's just incredible what Daniel brings to the team. The love and keeping guys grounded. When things aren't going well, he's always there for a positive reinforcement, and he has the bench going. And I look down, and he's as fired up as into it as anybody. It's just I look down and it brings me kind of not just happiness, but it kind of brings me out of the moment sometimes, because I just kind of laugh and I'm happy, because he's so fired up.
I'm shocked that he hasn't got a tee.
No,
because he's so excited. I mean, I'm being serious.
He's not going to tee, but he got yelled at this year.
Yeah, I got yelled at this year.
Explain the story.
It was the first game of the tournament, and
up in Buffalo,
we're struggling. Like, it was a struggle start of the game.
We weren't sure we were going to win.
What do we need? Energy. Yeah, we go on a big run.
Positive energy, baby.
And I get hyped on the floor. The ref looks at me. He's like, "You got to stop. This is your job to keep them calm." And I'm like,
I'm doing my job.
I was like, I'm getting them hype. I was like, we got to go on a little run. I'm like, we're in a tournament. And he's like, I don't care.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like,
That's crazy. So then you had to dial it down. But I want everybody to understand, though, too.
Yep.
This is a volunteer job. This is not
100%.
Not a paid position. He's got a full-time job. He's got a girlfriend. He's got family. He's got things that he wants to do. So, that's one of the main things. Just not only that, how you can see how he is, how he talks and all that, but like you just said, his positive stuff that he brings to the team, but just his volunteer because he loves doing it, and the players I know absolutely love him. They call you, what do they call you, Big D? Is that what they call? What do they call you? I don't even know.
Big Dan.
Dan. Combination.
Doug calls me Meat.
Meat, yeah.
Meat, that's
I would say it's kind of a combination of things, but it's just so awesome to see, especially with new guys coming in, and they obviously gravitate towards Daniel, and they rely on him, and Daniel's the candy guy. I'm getting so soft in my old age because halftime they're passing around Skittles and Mike and Ike's.
I don't know. This year was the most any team's ever ate during the game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I need it. And I'm like, all right. I mean, I got you. It's like that's why I upgraded to a third bag this year.
No, but in all seriousness, I mean, Daniel's role has expanded, and just another extension of the coaching staff, and not just doing stats or the water, participating. He's had to practice some. He helps in drills. He offers advice, and he's always there, for the guys, and I'm sure way more than I'll ever know, which is fine, about good and bad. And Daniel probably tells them, not to, laugh or worry about me if I'm getting on them, because I'll get over it the next day, what have you. But no, it's just a great thing to have Daniel on the team. Everybody should have Daniel on the team.
I totally agree with that, and you can see before the game starts, everybody gets in a huddle.
Oh my gosh!
And Daniel's like a ping pong ball, just bouncing all over the place, and he gets everybody kind of pumped up. I think your mom, I showed her a video or something like that, or maybe she was there at the game and she couldn't believe it, and she almost started crying because she just loves it. Because I mean, everybody just gets pumped up when he's out there,
because that's how much his value is to the team. It truly is. I can't say it enough. I mean, it's just awesome.
Well, I think not only that, but also with his friends too. You could see with his friends how much they love him and they're around him, and how much he, how all that works out. So it's good. But so Steve and I have always talked about, every once in a while bring up and say, hey, this is my favorite player, or give me your top this, top that, so I've got some of my guys that always will stick with, and everybody's got different reasons but I don't want to put anybody's spot. I don't want anybody to get mad at you. I don't think they will, but you got any favorite players, or any moment or anything? Let's just go with the players. You got any favorite players that stick out of your mind?
For sure. Jackson, David Hunter.
David Hunter.
Larry, David Froch, all those guys, the guys that they've been there for a long time, and I just get super close with them. I mean, obviously I have a lot of favorite guys, but those three off the top of my head right away.
Jack Engelman,
Jack
and James. So I've always brought up that David Hunter was one of my all-time favorites, no matter what. I just love the way he played, how hard he did, and then like you said, you've met Jack Engelman was another one. There's some other guys that I'm just probably forgetting that I've always brought up before, but you've been around a while, man. You've been around through the whole program
through COVID and everything. So how about a favorite team?
I think it goes back to either the first year we made the tournament, or the year before this last one. I'd have to go with the year first year we made the tournament, just because I was truly around the age of them. Like a lot of the guys were either older than me or the same age as me. And outside of basketball, we did everything together. We would go, Court had a house in Clifton. We'd go hang out there and just have a good night, play video games. And that team I was super close with. But I'd have to say that one, probably.
You know what? I mean, I'm pretty close to that too. I mean, we didn't know what to expect going into that tournament, and we were flying high with scoring so many points, but we were just struggling on defense, and we truly expected to win. Mm-hmm. So it was just a unbelievable shock to us when we lost.
Yep.
And then to come back the next day against Berkeley College, who was a huge team we had no business beating, and we beat them
by 50.
Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, and obviously, last couple of years run, and 2 years ago with Jackson and Larry and Dalton, and David Hunter, those guys. Those were guys. I mean, and a big, huge part of it, Danny, is and Daniel knows this very well, is just having just really, really good guys.
Absolutely.
You don't necessarily win with good guys, but when the good guys, play their ass off and are good players, that makes it that much more fun.
Well, think about it though. David Hunter stayed around for a while.
4 years.
5.
Jackson stayed around for a while.
Yeah.
Some of the guys that you had, Larry stayed around for what, 2 years?
2 years.
But still, you had a lot of the same guys coming back from year to year to year. You know what I mean? You had kind of a nucleus, it seemed like, every year that you had, and I think that makes a huge difference.
And these guys still are feel like they're especially Larry.
Yeah.
It feels like he's still on the team. The amount of times that I'm talking to him and he's checking in and everything, it's just the guys loved it and they love being a part of it, and I loved helping them out anytime I could. So
that speaks volumes.
Well, I'm just getting ready to say for both of you two, it showed when you had your alumni game, the Filson Coach Classic, and you had all these guys come back, gravitated to him,
first thing,
all going to Daniel.
Yep.
But then also it shows a lot for you and Doug and Kyle.
Yeah.
All these guys wanting to come back and be back.
Yeah.
That says a lot about both of you.
Yeah.
But again, for him to have all those guys go over and give him a big hug and so, I mean, and I'll be honest, a lot of those guys came over and were talking to all of us.
Sure.
I mean, it's just because you're
a part of it.
It's a unity type thing.
That's
what
right.
I mean? And it's just great to see.
There was just so many guys that couldn't even make it that day too, to think about.
Yeah, and they text and we're sorry and hoping that they can make it next year. So we're hoping that even grows even
bigger.
Yeah, even more. All right, so I want to talk a little bit, Daniel, about 3 years ago. Little 3.5 years ago, I guess it was. There was a guy that played at Clermont by the name of Billy McCain, and he was such a great guy. He went to Anderson High School and played for, I think, Phil Sinkovich and Joe Moon, and was such a great guy and a great teammate, hard worker, on and off the court, and a great friend to all. And he unfortunately died at such a young age. And one of the things that the college and Brian Sullivan, the athletic director, and some others had decided to come up with a Bill and McCain Cougar Pride Award. Mm-hmm. And this award, Danny, and they talk about it every year, and there's been 3 winners now so far, and they talk about what it represents to be with UC Clermont,
right,
and in athletics, and it it doesn't necessarily have to be an athlete. It's anybody that's around the athletic program or a specific team, and what they mean to that team, and what the value and what a great person, and everything that happens, and I can go on and on and on. And we were fortunate enough that when Brian Sullivan came up with this, it was within 5 seconds that he called me and said, we're going to do this, and the first winner is going to be Daniel.
Yeah.
I mean, it was it was amen, and it was no question about it, and the best thing about it was that I was able to keep my mouth shut for the most part, and surprise the hell out of Daniel.
And it was such an emotional day for me too.
Yeah.
Seeing it, I'm going to cry right now.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. And I thought you would cry before me. I told your mom, I said, he's going to cry in the opening, but to see him and see the family there and everybody, how they pulled that off. I don't even remember how we pulled that off.
Well, talk about it, Daniel.
Yeah, talk about
that day, it had to be somewhat of a surprise to wait a minute, that's nice that mom's here. Well, wait a minute, why is this person, talk a little bit about how all that transpired up until halftime.
I truly remember it. I was so surprised. I had no idea, and I thought me and Dan put a group chat together because we were like, we need you guys to come. It's a big game. It's Kent State. I was like, like, come on. I thought they truly listened, and somehow they just brought me nothing. I was like, I truly thought they listened. I had no idea. No clue at all. And I texted them all, and I was like, come out of the game, and I'm like, oh, wow, they're all showing up. I was like, that's awesome. I was like, this is a big one. We need it.
That's very cool. Yeah. And then they had this, little ceremony, and I could just see, I kept, trying to not make it obvious, but I was kind of, glancing over Daniel, and, it's just a cool thing that they did this, and then Brian Sullivan presented this with, at halftime, and the first ever recipient is Daniel, and I mean, I feel honored just to be a part of it, and I can't imagine how you felt about that.
It was so cool. It was, I don't know. It was awesome. Yeah. I can't even put into words how blessed I was to feel that way and how other people felt about me. Yeah.
Daniel, it was incredible, and just to see you tear up and the shock on your face when it was you, that was really cool. That was a cool moment.
Did you know by like the end of what he was talking about?
I knew when I looked up and I saw everybody was filming me. But I was so shocked.
Well, it was so cool. Obviously, it was so awesome for all your family to be there. It's extremely cool for you to win that award. Very, very, very deserving. But it was also very cool for all the players to be over the top happy for you, and obviously the coaches and everybody involved, because I mean that if that doesn't scream that it's obvious, of who you are and what you mean to everybody, that that's as obvious as it's going to get right there.
Yeah, I mean we talk about the reason why we do this, obviously this Positive Energy podcast, is for this reason right here, is to let everybody know that there are good people out there. There's good things going on, and with all the crap that just goes on anymore right now, I mean, it just shows, he's doing this because he loves doing it. Number one, and then it shows with all the guys that love him, and and that's what that's all about. And it just speaks volumes of Daniel and what he does for the program, and not only that, but just as a friend. I mean, him and his cousin Ryan are pretty tight, and that's I love seeing that. Sure. That is like the coolest thing, because they kind of remind me of my cousin Rob that I had. We weren't as tight as they were, but we were pretty close, and it just warms my heart that those two are that close, and that they hang out, and then all their friends, Stu and little Kyle and all those guys, man. Honestly, Steve, it reminds me of our group.
Sure.
Playing softball, playing sport. They're playing basketball. We played basketball. We did all that stuff. And their group of friends get together and do something. Matter of fact, they're getting on a bus for birthdays. I mean, that just speaks volumes of, and that's what we want everybody to know about how special of a guy Daniel is and what he means to a lot of people.
Yeah, the impact is you can't measure it, because what he has meant and continues to mean. The players from the past that still keep in touch with him, to the current players that he just met that is already going to be lifelong friends, I'm sure, to continue on and down the road. And it's just as I said in the beginning, I'll say it again, everybody should have somebody like Daniel in their life, and you'd be better off.
Totally agree. And Daniel has not, I guarantee that if Daniel is better than that dude from McNeese State, he would get NIL crap over that guy from McNeese State.
We're going to start that campaign.
Yeah, get Dan. But Daniel,
we're going to get a boombox.
I was just going to say, I don't think Daniel would go in a transfer portal, though. I don't think he would.
No, he wouldn't, but he can certainly make some money.
I would if I was following Steve, just like he did.
That's a good point. Yeah. So the last thing I want to bring up about what Daniel brings is something that I am so happy to have passed on to Daniel, because it means more coming from him, and it means a lot more to the team, that we have this growing tradition that we do in the locker room after we win. And we do our speech and talk about the game, stuff like that, and at the end of the day, you're trying to win, and when we win, we need to celebrate. And when we come into the huddle, at the end there, Daniel, just take it from here, Daniel. What do you do?
No, Steve starts to go, all right, I think we're done. Anything else? And then they get,
I can't say it like that.
Anything else?
Well, what?
And then the guys are like, Dan, what do you got? And I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then I scream whatever. Say our record's 11-6.
Yeah.
11-6, bitches. And I scream it. Yeah. So I had to do it from Steve one time because he lost his voice in the game or something. He's like, you have to do this, and I was like, and it stuck.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And now he warms up. He knows right when I'm about ready to be done talking, and then he's warming up.
Well, you know what's funny? You know who would love that is Kelly, our friend Kelly Sharkey.
Yeah.
She said that all the time.
That's her slogan.
That is her slogan. She'll love to hear that.
No, and be honest with you, those players look forward to that so much, and it's a great way to end a win, to move on, and we're fired up. And I mean, look at this year. We were 5-6, and Daniel, rolled off 10 straight wins for us.
I was a little tired there.
He said it a lot.
The other thing that he used to do, not only did he bring you guys candy and all that, but he would bring me pretzels. He had pretzels there for me every once in a while. And then he kind of stopped and forgot one time, but that was okay. Yeah. But I already had them.
You used to text me and say, I need pretzels.
I already had them. But so he does that. But no, just again, the one thing that I want to try to kind of bring back around is like, you're such a huge sports fan, and UC and the Bengals and the Reds, and so I know that Steve and I got the pleasure to have the Reds in the Big Red Machine and all that stuff. So we've seen a lot of these teams. So who is there a favorite Cincinnati sports team that you remember that sticks out in your mind? I think I've got maybe who you're going to go with.
Oh man, I mean, definitely probably going to the Super Bowl. That was cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
But favorite Cincinnati sports? Bearcats playoff.
That's just getting ready to say. I was just getting ready to say.
Yeah.
Because I even went to that. Yeah. I can't believe I forgot about that.
Well, and just to say that everybody knows how I am, with taking the shirt off and all that, and that has trickled down to Daniel. That he does that at games. He'll get a little excited to get the crowd up. That's how he gets the crowd up, and it could be 13 below zero, and Daniel's got his shirt off, and he's waving it around to get the crowd up. And kind of similar to what I used to do back in the day too.
There's no question about that.
It's kind of scary to sit there and think about.
That got posted on Barstool this year.
What's that?
Me with my shirt off.
It did?
Yeah, Barstool Cincinnati posted it, and then I get to get home, and then I see all the players from this last season posting it on their stories and everything. I'm like,
that's funny. That is funny. No, but just great, just what he does, and for not only UC Clermont, but all of his friends too. But I think you might have something here too coming up here, buddy, if you look at your script.
I do understand that. Okay. I was going to continue on. Just real quick. No, I will. No, I mean, I just wanted to say that with like, the times that we are in and the players that come and go.
Right.
I mean, I don't think there's anybody that should be any more proud than your mom and dad.
Yeah.
Let alone your family. Because every parent and you'll learn this soon enough, Daniel, that everyone wants to hear great things about their kids. And I mean, I know I've talked to Teresa at length about this. It's just how proud. So you should feel really good about that, Daniel, and that you're doing great things. And that you're a great person, and your mom and dad have done a great job, and
absolutely
you're going to continue on.
Yeah, your mom and dad have done a great job raising you. You've done an absolute, like I said, great job. But just very
definitely
proud.
All thanks to them for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right, so speaking of family, let's talk about your family. Your mom and dad. You have somebody that's pretty important in your life now that made the trip to Buffalo, which was unbelievable. So tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, me and Emily have been dating for like 2.5 years now.
Nice.
And going great, and she loved every moment of that trip. I will tell you that.
It was a good time.
She is bought into this whole experience now.
How about that?
UC Clermont.
Isn't that cool?
No, but everything's great with her. It's been a blessing meeting her, and she is truly like a girl version of me. Like we just go, like we both just go always having fun, always down to have a good time. Doesn't matter with her friend group, which I consider my friend group now too, and my friend group. And we're gonna mix this weekend when we're on the party bus.
So nice. Yeah. All right, so you know, you have this imaginary checklist, you know, and you know, I know there had to be some hold your breath type moments, like, you know, were you asking her these questions like UC or Xavier?
Oh God!
You know, and
she checked every one of them. The only one that still gets me a little bit is she roots for Ohio State. Yeah. But I can accept it. I mean, we're in Ohio, but I still don't like it. Yeah. But yes, no, she checked all those. She's all UC, all huge, all Bengals, everything. So
the value that she brings,
she is the best. I'm not gonna lie about it. First time I met her, I fell in love with her, and she is hilarious. And the one Daniel that's gonna stick out in my mind is when we went to the festival. I've never laughed so hard in my life. We went to St. Thomas More Festival. Yeah. And they're trying to get everybody out, and it's us three are the only ones that are still there, sitting there.
Oh, okay.
And of course, you know what Emily does?
What?
For the way home, so it's waiting for us when we get here. She ordered White Castle, so we had White Castles when we got home.
Outstanding.
Every time, it doesn't fail. Like if we're out drinking, White Castle will be waiting for us at the house.
That's amazing.
It's perfect.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that is a good girlfriend right there.
Yeah,
that's a great girlfriend.
Very, very cool.
Yeah. So it's, you know, and again, you know, I know you love your Uncle Moose and your Uncle Timmy, and you know, and your uncles and your aunts on your dad's side too, and I know family's a huge part of you.
100% is.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Great family, right, Steve?
That's it, buddy. That's what it's all about.
Yes, it is, man. This has been awesome catching up. It took forever, like you said. We've been trying to do this since August or maybe even July. I don't even know.
But this is, as you said, Danny, the positive energy, and this guy screams it.
Yeah, and I mean, again, you know, the reason we do this thing and the reason we bring it up is just because I feel like all the crap that goes on, and I'm just tired of it, right?
You're right.
And this is just something that, you know, we had Fred Boo up on a couple weeks ago, and the things that he did positive through the Anderson, you know, township and all that stuff. So that's why I want to do that. So anybody out there right now, if you know anybody that would want to be on this positive energy, it doesn't have to be from here, from Cincinnati.
No.
It could be anywhere of anything that they've done. Like we've had Doug Ass to speak cancer. My sister-in-law Megan has been on here. So anybody else that you guys can think of, please just, you know, send us an email, message us, let us know. We'd love to have you guys on. We can do it here in the studio or through a Zoom. And again, if you're out there watching and listening, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're on Apple, Spotify, all those channels. We'd really appreciate it. And any kind of comments you have, I mean, whether you like it, you don't like it, we don't care. I mean, we want to hear about that. But again, this is a positive thing, so let's stay positive, right?
So comment on our performance,
on everybody's performance, everybody's performance,
bringing your A game and all that.
Yes, you kind of, it was close. We'll give it about a B-.
Preach.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, unbelievable. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. It's been a great podcast, and Dan, we really appreciate it. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. So for Steve Ellis, Dan Albers, and Daniel Hennessey, you've been listening to the Positive Energy Podcast. Good night, everybody.